All right. Please tell me that you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Yay! Hopefully, everybody else can hear as well. And I know it's super awkward looking with this Debbie Davis phone, but that's the only mic that I can get to work right now. So
Are
hopefully, it's
we
not real
live?
glitchy. We're live. This is it's happening right now.
Hello,
So
hello. Wait a second. Are we here? Can people hear us? I can't chat in this setup, but that's all right.
oh, that's heartbreaking. Well, you should be able to see the chat. I could see the chat when you and I had that live.
I can see it. I see Nimrod celebrating your goats.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
why wouldn't we celebrate my goats?
I thought the puppies were good, but the goats angle's fantastic.
I
So,
mean, if you could find a way to have goats in Chicago, you probably would do it, right? I mean,
oh,
to be
they
fair.
are cute, and you had piglets too.
Yes. Well, when you say piglets, I mean, when we got them, they were probably around 50 pounds, and then finished weight is like minimum 225.
I like the piglets.
Yes, piglets are fun.
I got a thing for that and flamingos. I have an odd fascination with flamingos.
Yeah,
I just
we.
do.
I don't think we can have flamingos here. Funny story about flamingos, though. So my siblings, we all had gone down to Florida a couple years ago, pre-COVID, and they went to some flamingo sanctuary, I guess I'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like my mom and dad. I wasn't there, unfortunately, because I would have loved to have heard this woman. But there was this know-it-all lady who was every time they went to a different part of it, she was there too. And the kids were asking, well, why aren't the baby ones pink? Why are they like, I think they're white or something?
They're white. Yeah.
And the lady, with no hesitation, said, well, it's because they don't get the color until they drink their mother's milk, and the mothers eat crustaceans like shrimp. And so that's where they get their pink color from. In my family, being farmers, were like, flamingos don't nurse their babies.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah,
have nipples.
yeah,
So
that's. I had
I
that issue
mean,
too, but I'm like,
like wait, no, flamingos don't have nipples because, as in the Fokker movies, anything with nipples you can milk. I've
I
milked a
think
pig
that
before; it's happened.
I think we should make a new thumbnail for this, and it should be flamingos don't have nipples,
Yeah. I
and
mean, I think
we
that's
just leave that for the world of YouTube to figure out.
right. I've got a flamingo pinkish shirt on, but it's
There we
not
go.
because I
It
was
made
drinking
sense
my
in
flamingo
context. Don't
milk.
worry.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, thank you for agreeing to do this. And seriously, I feel like I'm gonna owe you your hourly rate for the last 35 minutes that we've been waiting. So just
Yes,
so that everybody is
everybody. By the
aware,
way, we've been working diligently. We had a problem with audio, and that's it.
yeah, my laptop does not want to accept the fact that there is a microphone, and no matter what option I picked, didn't work. So I ended up making it so that my phone would be a third option so that there's at least sound from my phone. The problem is my lovely children, when I got to sleep in because I didn't have to work this morning, uh, my one son played on my phone for a solid 3 hours and did not charge it. And so, hey, it was at 8% when we
Is
started
it plugged
this.
in right now?
It is plugged in, so hopefully it doesn't just die on us. If it
Oh,
does,
this
I'm
is
sorry.
ghetto-tastic. We've got audio
Yeah,
going through a phone with like zero charge.
This is like MacGyver
We're like worse
level,
than the defendants.
Yeah, it's MacGyver level maneuvering here. So, oh, Kim, I'm sorry you wasted some of your funniest chat. I feel like I can go back and watch it for a minute though, because I did go live on the other one. And Mike, I'm sorry, I thought you knew that we were live. You were just like hanging out, talking to me.
Yeah, I didn't really
that's
get
okay.
that.
No, it's totally okay. You didn't say anything inappropriate. We're not going to get banned or anything. But yeah, definitely. Well, no, there's rules about doing lives. You had to wait 24 hours to, I don't know, be vetted before you could do a live?
No.
And something about mobile live, you can't do a mobile live.
Well, I don't know. I do it all the time. Yesterday, I one of the subjects of one of my videos contacted me, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. And I said, here, I'll send you a link. And I mean, I was live in like 2 minutes.
Because you are a professional, and they have said that you are okay to do these things. But I do want to say, shout out to Unclean Hands. I love the name
Yeah,
because, you know, you can't come to court with unclean hands. That's just like
equitable.
one of my favorite when I got to argue that the plaintiff had unclean hands. It
Right.
just, it hits different when you get to say that in court. But he had an interesting video last night on an auditor. And honestly, before all of this stuff, I didn't even know that these auditors existed. So, shout out to Unclean Hands for some of the funniest commentary that I've heard in a minute. So that was fun.
Unclean Hands is awesome. He's and he's very supportive too. He's just around all the
Yeah,
time.
super nice.
Yeah,
He's got a
good
ton of
guy.
followers. I was like, dang, I only just hit 2,000, which I think is pretty cool. But
Yeah,
I
you
feel like over
whatever. You
5,000.
got that very quickly. And by the way, congratulations. I couldn't
Well,
believe this. I was setting this up and I did a little note, you know, this was last night. And I did, and I'm like, just whatever. I'm making something up, so I make up the cross examination thing, and then I say, and almost 2,000 subscribers, and I get up this morning, like, oh, we're over 2,000. That is awesome.
yeah, my son
Congratulations.
that killed my battery on my phone made sure to let me know that I had reached 2,000. He was very excited about it.
Well,
So,
that's really good because all this came about. A lot of this, I thought about your situation, and someone from the outside could say, oh, she's lucky. And yes, to some extent, because of COVID or whatever, 3B became popular. You happen to be the prosecutor in that room. Okay, fine. But it's the typical thing with luck. Yeah, she got lucky in that there was exposure, so it's sort of fun. But prior to that, you had to go to law school, practice law for years, practice law in obscurity in a small town, and then good fortune showed up. You know, there's
right.
a lot that went into that luck.
It
You
is
know,
so strange. Honestly, I think my husband still doesn't quite get it. He's like, "Why do you care about this?" Like, I don't know, because people care, and it's nice to see people excited about what you do.
it's fun.
And you know, some of the comments the other day on Van Balion's page were pretty harsh about the Sovsit case, and I thought, you know, I'm sure my boss is going to be like, well, why did you do that? But I responded in a very nice way, but just kind of pointing out, like, look, you don't go to prison for that stuff. Like,
Right.
I know that you would love to like see this person thrown in jail or prison, but that's not how it works. And you know, a lot of people had comments about, well, what if he? One said, "I hope he hits and kills you and the judge." And I'm like, oh,
No. That's
wow.
not,
I
you're gonna
mean, those
have
are
some
the
of
type
that.
of people like, you are just an unhappy person. And nothing I say to you is going to make you understand why I did what I did. But I did give a very good explanation, I think. So if you're interested, go over to Van Valen's page and you can like
Yeah.
take a
You know,
look.
I
But
lived that when he took the plea. And I
mm,
tried to give it context because I can see, and like we didn't have any discussion because it's a pending case, so we didn't have any
right,
specific
right.
discussions about this. I'm just basing it on what I observed, and I sort of tried to give context to it because I can see it from a prosecutor's perspective.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I mean, I guess what people don't understand too is like there's a limited amount of fines and costs that you can give somebody.
hmm
So it's like, and your jail time on 3 cases for misdemeanors in Michigan, it can't be consecutive. It's not like, oh, judge could give him 93 days in this one, a year in this one, a year in that one, and like add it up to 5 years that he's incarcerated. It doesn't work that way.
right.
So, you know, I still stand by it. And I guess if people don't like
No,
it,
I
it's
think
hey.
that was all good. I had the same problem, and you're gonna have that, but it's still really fun. Overall, it's overwhelmingly positive. But I had an auditor on yesterday, and a guy who does some annoying stuff. But he reached out to me, and we were having a really nice conversation, and a lot of people liked it, and then a lot of people were really irritated that I just didn't beat him up. And
Oh,
I'm like,
well,
he's a guest on my show. I put out a video criticizing him. He said, despite that, I want to come on and tell my side. I'm not going to beat him up. It's not cool.
you know, I feel kind of the same way. Like, what benefit is there going to be from just raking somebody over the coals? And to me, you know, all of these people are human beings, and
hmm
they have their own beliefs, interpretations, whatever it might be. And just because they're different than mine doesn't mean that I need to grind them down in the ground or beat them over the head until they understand my point of view, even though I'm probably right, because, you know, we're always right as attorneys. Uh, my husband, he's always like, oh, you're always right. I'm like, I know. Um, But, so for me, establishing that relationship with the person who has such different views where you can be adult about it and agree to disagree on things is so much more productive. And so, I get it. Like, it's not for entertainment value though either. It's more for educational value. And that's what I try to harp on, I guess.
Well, the
Also,
other
I
thing that
don't.
makes us calmer is so for instance, this guy was talking about a case that I think he's going to lose. So I'm not here to tell him. Let the judge tell him. I think he's going to lose his case. I think his argument's not great. It's not the worst, but and I don't need to be the one to do it. There's a prosecutor prosecuting him. They can do this thing. Or some of your cases, which I won't, but like I can see the end. This isn't going to end well for the defendant. So I don't need to have a Jerry Springer moment where I call him a doo-doo head. It doesn't, it
Very
doesn't
aggressive. You
do
need to
anything
like
for me.
tone it
I
down a
know he's
touch.
going to be convicted. That's it. I'm comfortable in that notion already.
Right. So, and that's the thing is, if there's something that I can do to hopefully maybe plant the seed of changing an idea for a person like that, great. But no matter what I do, I'm not going to change their mind in that 30 seconds that I have them in the courtroom or whatever it might be. But, if I treat them with the respect that every human being, the dignity and respect that you should treat other human beings with, I would hope that that then shows them that even though they totally disagree with everything that our Constitution that we believe it stands for, that they aren't going to disrespect that police officer that's on the street just trying to do their job. So, I hope that it
No,
was
that is
positive.
it, and I think you and Judge Middleton are really good at that. And that's what surprised me about this whole situation. I got onto your channel because probably the one with a witness or a sovereign citizen, one of those two that was like a big case. So then I was, I'm like brand new at this. I was looking for more material. I literally just did some like mundane cases in your room because I just enjoyed it, and I thought no one will watch this. But then people like that, even when it wasn't sensational, that's what surprised me.
Sorry, my chat was like hopping in here to wave. They're like, "We're here." I'm like, "I know you're supposed to be being quiet." Yeah, and that's the thing is, I don't know. People get kind of weird about it. Like, this some of these are people's worst day, and I
Yeah.
get that. I feel like it's embarrassing for a lot of people to, if you're arrested on a DUI, like stuff happens, right? And you make a
Hmm.
really bad decision, and you get caught, and you gotta pay the price for it. But to have it broadcast to the general public, I can get where that would be very frustrating for people. And these aren't politicians and rock stars and people that like would generally garner some sort of attention on it. It's just like the everyday average people. But on the flip side of that, people can come into our courtroom at any time, sit and watch all day long. Now, they're not allowed to record it, so it is a little bit strange that other people are using these recordings. But it's something where the transparency that it gives, the access that it gives to people. I've had so many, what I would say are intelligent, professional comments, and people that are talking about now going to law school, or kids that are in law school. I say kids, God, I feel so old when I call law school students kids. Um, but to me, having that ability to see the mundane, to sit and watch, this is how a plea is taken, this is how a sentencing goes, this is how a probation violation is handled. It gives the people that might be coming into that system, whether you're an attorney or a defendant or whatever, or your family member is going through it, sometimes having that inside peek to see, okay, this is how it works. You have some sort of frame of reference now for your own case. So I think there is educational value to it. And, there's definitely some disagreements among the legal community of whether they should continue to be live streamed or not. But it's not for me to decide. So I
Yeah.
guess until a decision is made, we just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, that was my thought. I'm like, I'll have fun with it while it lasts. If they close it down, fine. If they don't, great.
Yeah. So, all right. Now, this was supposed to be a cross examination of you. So don't think that you're going to try to just get out of this. So, Mike,
Uh oh.
Have you read the Moroccan peace treaty?
Yeah, but only because of YouTube.
Okay, so but it was typed out.
The
How do you
Treaty of Peace
think?
and Friendship.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't say. I mean, I read it like, once going through just to see if it contains anything that they claim it does, and of course it doesn't.
So if you were
It's short.
to want to authenticate that document to use it as an exhibit, how in the world would you do that? Because I'm pretty sure they didn't have the typewriter back then, and everyone that I've seen is a typed copy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my angle there. I
Well,
don't.
it's not in a well. I don't know, and I've gotten varying answers in the comments. I don't know if this is in effect because it expired in 50 years, and then it's been redone, and I don't know if it's currently in effect or not. It's
Hmm.
irrelevant. It does not say the United States is owned by Morocco
Yeah, like
or any such thing.
first argument, irrelevant, confusing to the jury. I didn't have to get to the point where I did any motion or briefing on it, but I was getting myself prepared for it. But when it's all just photocopies of typed up things, like any Joe Schmo could have typed up that what they are saying is this Moroccan peace treaty. I don't know if it's a true copy of it.
Oh,
So
oh my Lord, you're saying from that perspective. I wouldn't have
yeah,
even bothered. I would have said, you're offering the evidence. It's your burden. Tough nuggets. I don't care. You find a foundation.
right. But I'm just saying,
I'm just to
I
sit
would
here. I love it.
foundation, like
I'm just
no
gonna sit here and
foundation.
object. Say no foundation. That's it.
Yes. And that's where I was like all ready to do it. But I also thought that if it gets to the point of going to a trial on any of these, I would like to do a motion in limine to get those out of the way before you have a jury of six people staring at you like, what are these things? So
Yeah.
we never got to that point. Let's
Well,
see.
juries hold
Other
this stuff against you. This is what people don't understand. Juries it's limited what information they can get. So if you're sitting there slapping around for 3.5 hours over an irrelevant document, it's not your fault. It has to be addressed. And then,
Yeah.
but the jurors will be like, "Well, I don't think you should have been arguing about that," and you want to just smack them and say, "I didn't have a choice. I don't think you should have been arguing about it either." But there it is.
Right. So that yes, I would hope that the Moroccan peace treaty of friendship, whatever. I have it sitting on my desk. I honestly haven't really read it, so we'll see. All right. Next question. Ugh. How many animals do you actually have?
I have two. I get that question all the time.
Hmm.
I have Frankie and Ollie.
That is it.
That is it. I've got two
Hmm.
Havanese Hellions, and they're rotten to the core. And that's all I've got. Everybody else is. I got this sweet. I got this sweet dachshund puppy yesterday, 8 weeks old. Go to the community tab. It's good stuff.
When you say
But
dachshund, you mean like a wiener dog?
yeah,
Yes, I
and
saw
this
the
weekend I'm going
pictures.
up to see my mom, as you know, because we discussed it briefly. But
Moms.
I'm going up to see my mom, and she's got a dachshund too, Annie.
Do
But
you
that's
call them
not mine.
dachshund? Why don't you just call them wiener dogs like normal Midwesterners?
Well, I've also got Oscar the Frenchie, but that's just a friend's dog.
Oh, a friend's dog?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Got you. I got you.
it is. It's a friend.
So, what is your most memorable case? And obviously, like, you can't give names or whatever, but is there something about a case that really sticks out to you as memorable? Like, oof, learned a lesson on that one, or
The tons, but the most memorable case that's good for like I had a case and it ended up with it ended up being multiple cases, but a case of a doctor that was doing inappropriate things with all of his
oof.
patients
Hmm.
who are primarily geriatric.
Oh,
So it was really yeah. I mean it was nasty stuff, but I had 2 or 3 complainants, and then I was like looking through and I ordered police reports. All comes back redacted. So I had to file a
hmm.
suit, subpoena the stuff, and then I'm like, boom, here's just reams of complaints. I'm like, how did this happen? And all the things that happened. That guy's in prison now, but yeah, as well he should be. But I was on the civil end. I wasn't prosecuting this. However, they weren't prosecuting it either until I developed that information.
I feel like people don't quite understand how the criminal investigation versus civil
Yeah.
cases work.
Oh,
So
no.
I guess just briefly, right? So I'm on the criminal side now instead of the civil. I never did like personal injury or anything like that. It's kind of like its own animal. And
It
so
is.
if you don't practice in it regularly, probably not a good idea to just dabble in it. But with criminal cases, it starts out with a person filing a complaint.
Hmm.
But if you file that complaint and it never gets to the prosecutor's office desk with enough information that the prosecutor can say, yes, we can prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, the case doesn't go anywhere. And
Hmm.
that's where you have like that fellow that is now in prison. You may have 100 people that file complaints about him. But if somebody doesn't wrap those all into one package and say, hey, I think there's more to this, and start digging in and having that police officer investigate further, getting phone records, the medical records, statements from people, it could go nowhere. And it's really sad that people
Well,
are
in this
victimized.
particular case, he was like a visiting thing, and they were older. A lot of them had dementia, and that sort of thing. So I had so many families call and say, Grandma said this, and everyone's like, nah, yeah, which makes sense because he was like a reasonable looking guy, much younger. You wouldn't suspect that.
Which is crazy, right? Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
always
So that
say,
was a
there's
freaky one.
always there's always a first victim, though, right? Like, oh, he seemed like such a nice person, or she seemed like such a nice gal. It's
Yeah.
like, ugh, you just this day and age, you can't be too careful, and you have to really with elderly and with small children. If
Hmm.
they say something, you got to take it seriously until you know that it's not.
Well, that's the
So
problem. The elderly and small children, children do say things that don't make sense, but a lot of things that do, you got to investigate it. That's the thing.
yeah. I have really not been paying attention to the comments, so sorry, guys. I'm new at
Well,
this, but
I can't pay attention. Like, if I'm like talking, I just give up on comments. And
right.
what's fun though is I usually will watch it later, and then like I will watch all the comments. So keep commenting. I don't miss them.
Yes, I mean, and again, like these auditors, I don't know what you call them. So
Hmm.
they showed up at our courthouse the other
Oh
day.
no! Oh
Yeah,
no!
it was super disconcerting. I was on it.
Yeah.
I was in a hearing with Judge Middleton, and all of a sudden, my boss Dave just comes like busting in my door. I'm like, "What? I'm on the record. Hey!" And he goes behind me. He's like fiddling around with my blinds. Well, my blinds are generally closed because of the way my office is set up. Uh, but he didn't really say anything. It was just very strange. Just then he like goes back out. So afterward, I go find out that these two guys, were walking around the courthouse with like one just had an iPhone in his hand and one had one of those like rigs, that keeps it from
Right. Right. Right.
wiggling around too much. But they were just walking around our courthouse and peeking in windows and sticking their phones up in the windows. It was very strange. Not illegal, but not ideal.
That's their
And
MO. They want to push that boundary and draw a reaction. Oh,
yeah.
did anybody get video of them? That's what's fun.
No, if I would have
They
known it
hate
was
it.
going on, I would have like stuck my iPhone up out the window and peeked at
Yeah.
them, like, "Hey." Uh, but it's just, I don't know. Like, why do they feel they need to do that? I mean, we're not hiding anything, but also, I
It's
don't
just
just go
attention.
walking into a business and like stick my camera in their face and be like, "Oh, just looking around in here." It's very strange.
Yeah, I mean they want to get views and clicks. Honestly, that's what's pushing them, and the way to do that is provoke a response by being outside the norm of social
Hmm.
mores. That's it. I mean that wow, that was too
Yeah.
serious. But that's it. That's the answer.
And hey, Unclean Hands just like popped in and made a comment. So I don't know if you heard me talking about him earlier, but you're one of my favorites, man.
Oh,
I like appreciate it. I feel like you've got the voice of like a favorite grandpa, and I just love
oh,
the comments, right? Like it's just that
unclean hands
fun
rocks.
commentary.
There's two shout outs for unclean hands.
Yes. And you should
Yeah.
go check out his channel because if you like funny commentary, you can totally find some there. Mike, what other questions do I have? I was trying to like not be totally mean to you and just throw things at you.
This is all out the door after the audio thing. It doesn't really matter. Just the fact that we got on and had a conversation is a win. That's a
I
W at this
know.
point.
I mean, I'm just feeling like, what in the world is wrong with this laptop that it will not recognize any microphone?
It's some
But
setting issue or whatever. You know
yeah,
what we should have done is do it ahead of time, but that's easier said than done.
who does that?
Yeah.
Plans ahead of time. Like, that's not appropriate.
Well, when we did when you came on my channel or whatever, we didn't really have we had a problem with the phone, but that was just cell service. And then when you came on, we didn't really have much of a problem.
No, because you were running it. Like, I don't know. I guess.
But you're doing the same thing I'm doing. It's like you're one. What's hard about this is it's like one little thing. And if you had an IT guy look at it, be like, oh, well, your audio output needs to have this box checked. Yeah, but it's 17 menus in. Yeah, that's what it is.
I feel like I'm my own IT person most
Yeah.
of the time.
I've got an IT guy. I just punt and the
Yeah.
guy's name is Tony. Shout out to Tony. Comp advice.
Tony. Our IT guy, one of them is named Tony as well. It must be like a common IT guy name, Tony.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
Somebody commented, "Will I ever wear a black robe?" I mean, I like robes.
Yeah.
Right?
You'd be an excellent judge.
But
that is a good question.
In the game plan, it truly is. Like, oh, I'm outing myself on YouTube, but I mean, everybody in my circle kind of knows. My boss knows that I intend to run for judge. So, yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
People ask me, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, she would make an excellent judge, but the question isn't that to me. The question is, does she want to? But well, now we know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a civic duty, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting though with judges because it's not necessarily how intelligent you are, how good you are at your job. It's a political thing, and it's like a popularity contest, which is super weird, and I don't like that. We've been very fortunate in our county that even though it's set up as like just a popularity type thing, we've got really good judges that are very intelligent, very good at what they do. But when I look at other jurisdictions, other states, and it's like, how in the world did that person get elected to that position? They are way over their head. And it's politics, which is so frustrating. So,
I mean, in Cook County, we have so many judges, and it is amazing. It just runs the gamut. Like literally, some of the brightest people I know, and some of the not brightest people I know, and they're judges.
Maybe just leave it at that. But yeah, and it's definitely something where I feel like I would do a good job at it. And,
you'd be excellent.
Well, hey, thanks. Can you move to St. Joseph County and maybe like register to vote in about 2 more years?
I'll just that would be really, really cool. It's funny, and people ask me if I want to be a judge. I'm like, are you kidding me? Have you seen me? Do you think I have the disposition of a judge? No.
I mean,
not even.
I guess I haven't seen you in the courtroom. See, you guys all get to see me in the courtroom, right? So I only get to see you just having fun. So I don't know. Maybe you're super professional and like on point, and maybe I don't know.
I'm more serious in court, certainly, but I don't have the I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience.
Recognizing your strengths and weaknesses is a very important part of your professional career. So there you go. I mean, not everybody's cut out to do every type of job. So
when you do, and you do this because day after day, when they read, okay, here are your rights. Here are your rights in a landlord-tenant case. Oh God, and you just have to read this spiel, and that's the law, and it's totally appropriate.
Yeah.
But after the 300th time of that, I'd be like, I'm not doing this. I can't do it.
You'd be like, click this button here, and it'll read it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but the other thing is, I don't think people realize the amount of administrative stuff that judges have to do. It is kind of crazy. I mean, my father-in-law is currently the probate judge, and so I get to kind of like hear the negative parts of being a judge and having probate to deal with.
That's another thing too. That's another whole world. Like, okay. So I do PI cases and stuff. So I'll end up with the minors. I got a minors estate I have to work on before I fly up to Traverse City today. But you do a minors estate or a wrongful death. You have to open an estate to proceed with a claim. and you get in probate. I don't even do it, and I have done all this. I'm like, I've got a probate person I go to. I'm like, I don't even want to think about this. It's like another world.
It is. And I find it very interesting. There's so many facets to probate court, but one of the most prevalent is like the abuse neglect cases. So you're
Mhm.
talking termination of parental rights and things. So probably nothing that you typically would deal with, but those types of cases, it's interesting because you're not penalizing people with jail or fines and costs.
Mhm.
You're penalizing them with losing the right to have their children. Like
Mhm.
that is so serious, and
It is.
to make sure that their rights are protected, that they have adequate representation. Uh, it's very important to me, and it pains me because I haven't been able to practice in probate court since my husband's stepdad was elected. So since 2012, I could only practice in probate court if the people signed like a waiver of disqualification,
Oh, they
which
have to do a waiver.
for abuse neglect cases, I did do some of them representing the parents, and they signed waivers, and it was fine. But I still was able to do a lot of guardianships, adoptions, estates, as far as like probating an estate for somebody who has died. So I feel like I've still stayed in the probate stuff. And estate planning is what I do as my side work when I'm not prosecuting. So I don't know. I think probate judge would be a good spot. So we'll
Oh, well
see. I
that
don't know what the cards hold, right? I mean, it's one of those
well
things.
now you get elected to anything over there now.
Oh, sheriff? I mean, we're
You
joking.
you
Like,
got you
I
got
should run for
profile.
sheriff. Just be fun. Like, nah. Head law enforcement. I mean, hey, the prosecutor is like the head law enforcement person in the county. So, sheriff, right? No.
Well, but that's the usual thing. Usually the usually the prosecutor is that's the normal progression is prosecutor judge.
Yeah, it seems to be that way. But I think it's more so just making sure that people have a well rounded background. Because, with Judge Middleton, he was never in private practice. And it's funny to listen to him sometimes, like, admit, hey, I was never in private practice. So, because they just, they kind of expect, well, you should be able to be there at any time. And we have to remind them, no, our calendars are generally set out weeks, months in advance. We can't just drop everything. Whereas at the prosecutor's office, we're all there, it's 8 to 5. And if the court needs one of us, there's 5 of us and one can hop in. But with private practice, it's very different. So, in running your own business as a private practice, just, it's not like you just get a paycheck every week or every month. You have to
Yeah, oh yeah.
go through the whole making sure people pay you and
Yeah,
collecting on it.
the judges, the judges, there is a big difference. If they were in private practice before, they respond much differently.
Yeah, so it's funny. Judge Middleton is the only one of our 4 judges that was not in private practice before taking the bench. He was always a prosecutor. So he is an anomaly, I would say, as far as his ability to look at the situation from a defense standpoint and a prosecutor standpoint, even though he was not a defense attorney at any time. So
Yeah, but he's if anything, he's a softie. I mean,
I'm
you
not
shouldn't
going
have
to
to
say
comment.
that, but
Yeah, I didn't mean to, yeah. But I mean, it's not like he's like throwing the book at everybody kind of thing. That's just my assessment.
yeah, no. And, I don't, it's just different in small communities. Again, these are the same people you see at the grocery store, at the gas
Mhm.
station. And you can't just hide behind your title, whether it's a prosecutor or just a defense attorney or a judge. If you don't treat people with the respect and dignity that a human being deserves, it's going to come back to bite you. And
Mhm.
I just don't have it, I guess, in my DNA to rip into somebody. I mean, maybe I had before, but not so much anymore. I don't
Well,
know.
they have to earn it.
Well, true. I mean, definitely you get what you give, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're disrespectful to somebody, I'm not going to bend over backwards to be kind
Yep.
to you. But when somebody does give respect to the court or to the process or to me, it does help. It helps humanize people. Otherwise, it would just be like Dave sent us an article, like I don't remember where it was, somewhere overseas, but they made this like artificial Prosecutor that has this, they can prosecute cases completely by this computer bot thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, I guess. I mean, it's like takes into account all like human characteristics and traits, and I don't know. It was kind of strange. We were laughing about it. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna be a thing while I'm still in practice, so I'm not too
Yeah.
worried about it.
Oh, I think all that'll be a thing, but yeah, after my time.
Yeah, like flying cars too, right? Like the
Yeah,
Jetsons. Like at
I'm
some point,
I'm I'm ready for the flying car.
I don't know. I feel like the regulation of airspace is going to be too much to handle with that. So,
Or even a car, even the car that I did a video on this. It was a Tesla or whatever, but a guy was just totally asleep and his car's driving, and
yeah,
I'm like, it's funny because there's interesting divides, and then some people are like, oh, that's cool, or some and other people are like, that'll never happen. I'll never feel comfortable. I can't wait. I would love it.
only because you're probably driving from the Chicago area to Upper Michigan, and there's some pretty boring roads at times. Where you're
Yeah.
like, I could just take a nap if my car could just drive this.
Oh yeah, sit in the back, have a cocktail. I don't care. Take me to California. I'll take a nap. I don't care. If I'm not active on the road, beautiful.
For sure. Hey, somebody, you mentioned like something about Nimrod, right? Like there's a Nimrod in here.
Yeah,
I
there's
have to
we got
know-
lots of Nimrods, but
I know, but like, so it used to be that was like a negative term, like, oh, you're such a Nimrod or whatever. But then I found out that up in the UP near my husband's family's cabin, there are the Waters Meet Nimrods. It is literally their high school mascot are the Nimrods, and I think it is the coolest thing ever. So
okay, that's
now I
yeah.
wonder if you're using Nimrod, it's because you're a Waters Meet Nimrod.
No, Nimrod is pejorative. There's no two ways about it. I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know who named their high school that. It's funny.
I mean, check it out. I'm serious. Waters Meet Nimrods up in the UP. So I'm gonna have to get you a T-shirt next time we head up there and send you a Waters Meet Nimrods T-shirt or a hat or something. But I mean, it's kind of like the colon magi, though. People are like, what's a magi? Oh, do you see a kid in the background here? There's two of them tapping on me. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of something. Kids are the best, aren't they? I know.
You know, I'm live here on YouTube.
Glasses, you know. Yeah, I guess
I would hold it over them. I'd be like,
People
2,000 subscribers. What do you think
Yeah,
about that?
mean, yeah, Tanner, 2,000 subscribers. And Harper wants her glasses. We have to go get those picked up today. I know you did. Tanner told me he was the one. He's also the one that killed my battery on my phone. So if anybody wants to like throw some shade toward that child.
It's funny though. You had the same experience. I remember when I first started this, I did a couple, and I've told you this story, but like I thought, oh my daughters will be horrified because I would have been if my parents were on YouTube. I would have been like, oh my God, no, you know. But I grew up in a different era, and so I do this, and I think, oh, this will be really funny. I'll show them my YouTube video, and they'll be horrified. And they're like, oh, that's cool, Dad. I'm like, that's it. That's all I got.
Wait, what? That's all?
Like, good job. That's really neat. You're on YouTube. I mean, that was the response.
Yeah, it's definitely Tanner. You can't make weird mouth noises. Yeah, well, it's funny because YouTube to me growing up was not like something you just watched all the time. It was like kids would maybe watch YouTube. I don't really know. Now that's all my husband watches are like YouTube hunting shows and things like that. You watch the hunting show?
You just made me feel really old, though. You said YouTube to me growing up. YouTube to me growing up was science fiction. That was something in the distant future.
Oh, well, it was a thing, but it wasn't like there were shows on it. It was more of a you go and check. I don't honestly even know.
Yeah,
I never even did much with YouTube until recently.
The content wasn't.
No, not at all. And then my kids are just like, oh, YouTube this and YouTube that. And these videos of the people, it was just like their hands, and they were unwrapping plastic eggs that were covered in Play-Doh. Have you ever seen those? Get your finger out from behind me. Both of you. Anyway, it was like pointing at each other. Like Harper's on one side, Tanner's on the other. But the kids, my sister's kids, they would just watch these YouTube videos of people taking Play-Doh off of eggs, and then there was like a prize in the egg. And we were like, what? Why would you watch that? I don't know. Super strange. And now we watch YouTube for a lot of things, but
Yeah, I probably got into it like 3 or 4 years ago, but that's all I do. I don't watch TV. It's like so much better. I have content creators that I like for over all different types of areas, and it's so much more interesting to me than a TV show.
yeah. Well, and Tanner said years ago, I want to be a YouTube gamer. I'm like, what is that? Like they were, it didn't, he's like, it didn't work. Didn't work. So it's like watching other people play Minecraft or Fortnite or something.
No, I don't watch Fortnite.
Oh, he's like, I don't watch Fortnite. Like, actually, you do because I remember it. But Lane does. He's calling out his cousin. But it was interesting though because he would then learn how to make these things in Minecraft. That I still that game like it's too much for me.
Yeah.
I think my ADD or something. I can't keep up with it. But anyway. Well, I can't believe that we've been on for 40 minutes. This is
Lord,
kind of crazy. And like,
let's wrap this up. I gotta go up to Northern Michigan. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. And hopefully in the next year we can do something fun again.
Oh, absolutely. This is well. You learned a lot today. I mean, you have to figure out the mic situation. But,
yeah,
but still, you're gonna do all this stuff.
I'm also never gonna have my kids in my office when I'm doing.
Oh, that's the best part right there.
I know they're so sweet. But yes, we'll go get your glasses. She's so excited about her glasses, everybody. So yes, shout out to River Country Eye Care. You guys,
that is sweet.
So, and Tanner's hungry as always. So we're gonna go find some food. But anyway, hey, thank you again for everything, Mike. You've been a good resource for me because I would have not had any clue what like StreamYard is and live streams and all that jazz. So it's been a good time. So,
I told you, I'm like a proud father. You put out some content and I'm just like, oh, you're talking to the camera. You got audio. Good.
So
now you did a live stream.
Yes, we have like broken that glass ceiling of live streams for me.
There we go.
And now we'll see. But I think I'll always just have to come to my office to do them and leave them at home and maybe have better internet. So hey, if anybody has a tip on those internet outside of town, you just let me know. So, but anyway, hey, everybody, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. And what's my daughter doing? She's touching something. I don't know. Why are you scrolling through? Anyway, but thank you. And if you guys have any ideas of things that you want to know more about, then let me know. Oh yes, congrats on the new glasses. And girls with glasses rule. She saw the comments, so she had to scroll back up there. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
So hey,
Happy New Year.
Thanks, guys.